to look at the game balance manifesto for Heist, and we are also going to be looking at my starter build that I will be playing for Heist, and I think this will run very well. And then after this, I am going to go ahead and do some gameplay with the to show you the build. So first here, there have been some changes. Necromancer got nerfed, going down to 50% of offerings affecting your character. And Assassin was also hit with less critical strike chance and multiplier on their Deadly Infusion, and less critical strike multiplier on the small passives. All this, we need to see the hard numbers on the critical strike multiplier and crit chance. Basically, this is might make Assassins not king of crit, and you might change some of your builds around if you're really relying on crit. You might have to invest a few more nodes into critical strike to get to the same feel. This was one that everyone knew was happening, which was glancing blows is getting a nerf. We're now going to be taking 65% of the damage from block hits instead of 50%. Now, a lot of people I've been seeing on Reddit are claiming this is a 30% more multiplier on the damage that we're taking than we previously had taken because of this 15% increase. What I want to go ahead and show is that this is actually only a 10% hit to our actual damage mitigation. So if you take a look here, take 75, which is max block chance. So if you're taking glancing blows, it's really easy to cap out your block chance at 75. So at 75%, you multiply that by 0.5, which, I mean, if you get to max block chance just normally, that is basically a 75% damage reduction. If you have both spell and attack block, that's 75% reduction flat on everything. Okay? Take glancing blows to get up to 75% on attack and spell block. You're looking at a 37.5% damage reduction. Now, what you do here is you take that same math to calculate your damage reduction, and the damage reduction drops from 37.5 to 33.75. Take the difference of the two, divide the difference by the original amount. That is a 10% drop. Basically, our effective damage reduction was only reduced by 10% because of how the block mechanic works. So, yes, we're seeing it 10%. It's not a 30% like some people are saying, because it's not a straight full damage. It was never a full damage reduction in the first place. Blocking was never full damage reduction at that 75% value unless you could do it without glancing blows. Glancing blows takes that down by half. Now it takes it down by 45%. So you take 75 by 0.45 gives you the 45% of that 75%, which is 33.75. This is still really good. It is going to work wonderful. Like, the block chance bit is not that big of a deal. Like, that isn't that big of a deal. So feel free to use glancing blows. It looks big. it's not that big. We're only seeing a 10% reduction in our actual damage reduction. I'm still planning on running Glancing Blows. It's going to be amazing. We're not going to see that big of a debuff. You might get one-shotted now by some things that weren't one-shotting you before and were just reducing you down to like 5 or 6 health. So note that, like, the things that were really close to killing you are now going to be one-shotting. So we're going to need to make up that 10% with more defenses somewhere, because we can't get any more block chance unless you can overcap. There's some notables that will increase your block chance above the 75 cap. Gladiator can do this. But for the most part, that's not as big as people are saying. Now, the Divine Flesh lowered the maximum chaos resist that you get from it to 5%. This is kind of a hit, especially with us losing Harvest Crafting, where it's not going to be as easy to craft maximum chaos resist. So we will need to look at that. For those who are running Divine Flesh, not going to be as great. I'm going to have to invest a lot more, especially since this stuff is harder to craft than blockchain stuff. So, going with that. Enduring Cry still gives us a lot of regen for, in combination with Call of Arms. Just put it on your left click. When you're running into packs of monsters, it'll start giving endurance charges. This will prevent us from just having max cap endurance charges all the time while walking around. Ball Lightning is going to take a slight hit to its damage and to its area of effect. It got hit last time with slower projectiles. Its damage got moved up a little bit to compensate. Its area of effect, I believe, stayed the same. So last time it didn't get hit that hard, minus that the slower projectiles forced us to get more area of effect. We're going to need to get even more area of effect now, because by lowering the base area of effect means we have to add that much more to increase our area of effect. And then with the damage also lowered, making sure that we hit that cap of 13 strikes to a monster is going to be more important to make sure that it stays viable. Overall, I think Ball Lightning is still going to be in a good place, still going to be viable, so those Ball Lightning miners are not going to have any real problems. There just might be a few things we adjust on our trees. I played a Lightning Ball miner last league for my league starter. I'm not doing it this league, just because I like to keep things changed from league to league, but it's still going to be more than viable. I was thinking about doing Ascendant Ball Lightning with like infinite mana. Not going to do that. I've decided to go with something else that I'll be showcasing here in just a moment once we get this. Spellslinger. It's now going to have a longer cooldown, but higher level gems makes it less. Also, starts off with a 30% scaling down by level 20, so like a 0.25% per level of the gem. Not that bad. We'll need to see the hard numbers on the monster, but damage and life lowered, meaning those Redemption Century Specters are going to be squishier, meaning we're going to have to replace them more if you play a Spectre build. Damage is lowered. Don't know how much. We might still be able to scale it so that it feels good. Might not. We'll have to wait on the hard numbers. Numeric changes on Precise Commander, Vicious Bite, Vengeful Commander. I'm not sure. I don't use these notables on my cluster duels. In fact, I like to play builds without the need of cluster jewels just because cluster jewels are so expensive. If you're running a league start that needs cluster jewels, you are probably doing something wrong. It is not a viable league start if you have to have cluster jewels. Cluster jewels should be something that pushes your character up just a little bit to do and shouldn't be necessary to make a build work if you're doing a league start. Now, if it's your second or third character and you got the capital, go ahead. Make a build that requires cluster jewels. But these things get so expensive, and without deterministic crafting like we had in Harvest, they're just going to be more expensive. Vitality, Precision, Clarity. Vitality has always been just something for RFs and maybe some Zealot's Oath type builds. It's switching from percentage to flat, which will be greater at lower levels. It's now available at 10, so it'll be good if you're doing life at low levels. It'll work perfectly fine. I think it's going to get scaled out. But if we look down here, they're changing flat life regeneration, so a lot of things are getting a lot more. So Vitality might be viable at high levels. Not going to be using it in my setup. I'm going to be using Clarity for my league start because it's going to be a minor the matter type defensive build. So Fallen Purity skills been changed to grant maximum elemental resistance instead of less damage taken. This is basically to prevent clever use to make things to make you immune. Elemental effect, some element modifying stats like chill effect, shock effect, chill duration, and freeze duration now instead apply to all cold lightning elements. And this allows it to affect things like sap and brittle. This is cool for those who use sap and brittle. I don't, so it doesn't affect my build. Could be some pretty cool stuff done with it. They're changing the behavior for steel skills, so splitting now occurs first, followed by piercing, forking, chaining, and then returning. So steel skills have a lot of splitting involved with some of them. So now they all split. You can then get them to fork or chain. I would just pick one, not both. So that can be really good because splitting makes new projectiles, and those can be then, after they've split 3 or 4 times, you can then get those projectiles to split more with forking or bounce around with chain. We won't have invisible builds now. That was a big thing in Delve League, to have a really low health character that was basically invisible to run and grab fossils. That's not going to be possible anymore. Here's the flat life regen is going to be bumped up. I still don't think it'll be more competitive than percentage based for things like RF, or things with a lot of life in it. Now, things that use Zealot's Oath and ES might want to use it depending on where their ES pool is. Usually, though, they're going to want percentage as well. They've made changes to the mod tag system to make things a little bit more clear. I don't do a ton of crafting. I'm not really familiar with it. That's something I do want to get into. This should help us a little bit more with that. So those are the balance notes. And then what I'm doing for my league start is Divine Ire totems. This path of building is courtesy of Big Duck. I like his build, so he does pretty good. He doesn't like totems, so his leveling tree um, has you level without totems. So I'm actually going to not follow this leveling. I actually love the totem playstyle. I've played totems in multiple leagues as a league start. They're fun. They're great. They're great for new players, actually. My first time getting into maps was actually with a totem build. So, totems, it was the first build that got me into maps and into the end game that I completed the storyline with. So, the full 10-act storyline. And I enjoy totems. There's a lot more to it than a lot of people think, where it's just place totems and call it good. Um, and I might actually play around with this because cannot be stunned and cannot evade enemy attacks. I think, like, I don't know. I don't feel like I get stunned that much when I'm playing totems, but that's because I'm moving around a lot more. I'm not getting stuck in place. Big Ducks, when I saw his gameplay footage, he really on boss encounters just kind of sat there and didn't move around a lot with the totems. When I play, I actually have Hierophant that I had on Standard League. I went ahead and decked out with the gear, with some gear and unique items for this build on Standard. But I'll be showing you some gameplay footage later of it running some maps. Like, I don't usually play Standard. It was just a leftover character that I had a full tree reset on. And from Delirium League, where I was playing Archmage Brand build, so I completely redid the tree, redid the ascendancy to go into totems, and how to get all new gear. So much that I don't play Standard that my atlas isn't even filled out beyond my tier. So we'll be playing that a little bit tonight, and we can show you how this build works and how I would play totems. I will be practicing my league start with this build, since it has been a few weeks since I've done totem builds for league start. But basically, instead of shying away and running and grabbing, he runs and grabs elemental overload right off the get go, and play self cast for a while. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to rush over here to Ancestral Bond and grab the +1 to maximum number of summoned totems. I will be running a Holy Flame totem right off the get-go. With Consecrated Ground effect that they have, it really gives you a lot of survivability on those early bosses, or you can just stand around, jump around them, and just let your totems kill everything off. The totems can do just enough damage. Before I get Divine Ire, I'll probably be running Ball Lightning totems, and Ball Lightning totems just rot. I'm going to obviously not have this Thread of Hope right at League Start to be using with, but I did look over Delirium League because prices are going to be closer to Delirium League prices than Harvest Crafting prices, because Harvest League you can craft some insane rares right off the get-go. Now, the important items in this build: Self-Flagellation Jewel, once you have your Soul Mantle, and where's that other? Where's that other? Here we go. I guess he specs out of this other one. The other one is Spire of Stone. This is nice. The increased totem life is good. Totems can't be stunned is also good, especially since we're doing Divine Ire. I don't know why he removes this. Self-Flagellation, you want to get that as high as possible to 20%, which is the maximum value. Now, if you come over here, items, this is his items that he has. I have different ones, but he has a Soul Mantle. Those and the Kikizaru rings. I went ahead and pulled the data from PoE Ninja in a nice Excel spreadsheet. What you're looking at here is the 6-linked Soul Mantle in the first week of Delirium. It was close to 500 chaos. That is insane. But let's come back up here. We can do Control F for Soul Mantle. Find next. This will give you the 1 to 4 links. As you see on day 1, it's up at 20. Day 2, it's at 3 chaos. Goes down to 1 chaos. It stays at 1 chaos for the rest. Here's the thing. A 4 link can get you into maps with Divine Ire Totems. No problem. And have you be doing tons of damage. A 4 link is really easy to do, especially early in the league. It's not hard to get on Soul Mantle. Just 2020 to it, and you should be able to hit like 20 using orbs to grab this 4 link, and you are fine. You are set to start doing maps, push into yellow, maybe even some low tier reds. You can get a 5 link. If you go down here, this is really entirely. We go down here and find next. You find the 5 link. See here, it's up in like the 30s for the first week. Drops down to about 10 or 15. If you are dedicated on the first day, you can afford a 30. You can afford 30 chaos for a 5 link. That gives you a pseudo 6 link. So it is better to have a 5 link Soul Mantle with this starter build than getting a Tabula Rasa. And they're about the same price. There's very little difference between a Tabula Rasa on first day of league and the Soul Mantle 5 link. 6 link, obviously, way expensive. I probably can't even afford a 6 link on the first day, playing all day long and getting the maps inside of 6 hours. Not going to happen. Now, we take a look. The other ring, the Kikizaru. I remember how to spell that. But I should be able to find it, right? Here we go. Kikizaru. 2 chaos, 1 chaos. First day. No problem. Pick up 2 of those. Of course, you want the highest lightning resist you can. Those will probably be going for like 5 or 10 chaos. If you can't afford it, get some cheap ones, upgrade them later. It's not that big of a deal. Just means you need to find a little bit more resist on your other gear. It's not that hard to gear a character on day 1. And come back here. Let's do Spire of the Stone because not very few threads of hope. Those are going to be huge, and we need immediate. I don't expect to get this on day 1. We're just going to invest more passive skill points into our tree to grab those notables that we need. And then once we get a thread of hope, because you can easily kill Ceres with this build, we can grab our own thread of hope or sell the ones. If we pick up one and it's not the right size, we don't have the divine orbs, we can sell it. And probably, if it's not like a horrible thread of hope, fund the rest of the build, no problem, in a couple of days. So let's look at the Spire of the Stone, right? Spire of Stone. So, Spire of Stone, day 1, 1 chaos on day 2, drops to under a chaos fairly quickly. And look at self. We can run through. Self-flagellation, day 1. It's 3 chaos, 4 chaos, 4 chaos, 2 chaos, 1 chaos, 1 chaos all the way down. I think it actually drops somewhere near the end of the week to below a chaos. So, that's where you're looking at. So you get a soul mantle for like 30 chaos to get a 5 link, which is our pseudo 6 link. We then spend a couple chaos on a self-flagellation, spend a few chaos on a Spire of Stone. We spend a couple chaos each on our unique rings. You can deck out the rest of the gear and random rares and uniques to do your cap resist. If you feel confident enough not to get hit by stuff in bosses, you don't even need to cap res. If you know what you're doing, you can run with a little bit well. I personally don't do that. I don't recommend it, but you can. That's one of the great things about totem builds, is it allows you to move a lot so you don't get hit a lot. We look at other things on this build. You just want a probably the biggest expensive item you're going to get on day one is going to be the shield. Take this shield. The big thing you want is 1 to the maximum number of summon tokens. That's huge. And if you can get additional spell block damage, chance to block spell damage, that's awesome. Other than that, it's a mana, life, resists, and you're fine. This shield is going to be expensive day one. You don't need this shield to run the totem build. Okay? So with that, this is a perfectly acceptable build. You can run totems from the get-go. Big Ducks doesn't recommend it. You know what I say? I say run totems from the get-go. I like running totems. It's a different playstyle. But the fastest I run stuff is with totems. And that's one of the nice things with totems, right? Is I think it'll be good for heist content. Because totems, you just drop and forget. Especially like Holy Flame Totem, Ball Lightning Totems. Ball Lightning Totems has amazing clear. It has better clear than Divine Ire. Divine Ire, though, I think has better single target than Ball Lightning Totems. So that's why I'm going with Divine Ire over Ball Lightning. But basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to rush, take these nodes up here, come down, grab these 2 nodes, come down, grab this life, and then beeline it straight to Ancestral Bond. Once you get that second token, even if you're just because you're taking it, can't deal damage yourself, doesn't matter. Does not matter. Okay? Then I would come down here. I would grab these, from there, right? I might come up here, grab this life. Actually, probably don't need to grab that. Let's see. After we hit Ancestral Bond right from the get-go, I'd probably come down here, grab Glancing Blows, just because Glancing Blows is going to give us we don't have a lot of block at the get-go. That'll give us double our block chance, making it a lot more effective. Even when we're taking 65%, doesn't matter. It makes us a lot better. Grab these for obvious reasons. Spell block chance. Really hard to get on shields early on. Block attack damage. See, this is 2%, 2, but once we have Glancing Blows, that turns into 4. 4 to attack damage. 4 for blocking spells, so that's 8. We come over here. That's another 8, so that's 16. And that gives us 12% block attack damage. Plus whatever's on a low-level shield, which is going to be like 20 to attack damage, 40. So you're looking at like 50% block chance at low level, with a decent amount of spell block chance. Also, because you're holding a shield, this is going to solve, let's see that, 12, 6 is 18, plus another 6, that's 24 LA resist just for holding a shield. That's going to solve a lot of your elemental resist early on, allow you to grab that 2 passive points instead of going like mana regen and resists that I usually go. Like if I'm not going 2 passive points, I'm usually going Alara, but we can grab the 2 passive points, which just helps us out so much more. We can come over here, grab that life wheel for some more defense. If you feel good on defense, you can start working over here, start grabbing these totem skills, these totem nodes here, grab this mana and stuff over here. Just depending what you want. We can either go down and over. You can grab this dynamo. I would grab it as soon as possible. We are using Arcane Cloak to give us some more damage on our lightning ball totems. It'll give us more lightning damage on the fire. I mean, honestly, we can do really well with this. So I'm going to wrap it up here. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and you can direct message me, or you can go ahead and leave a comment on my YouTube channel. I will be posting this video to YouTube. Check it out. It's Fat Troll Gaming, just like it is on the Twitch stream. And then I will be posting some gameplay footage of maps with me playing the Divine Ire Totem. That way you guys get a feel of what a mediocre player does with playing with the Totem build. And, you're not going to see me push any crazy content out there. But I feel like you'll get a better idea of what you can expect with the build with me playing versus like Big Ducks who plays all the time. Have a good night. Talk to you later, and keep trolling.